Good evening. Welcome to the September 10th, 2018 meeting of the Rutherford County Regional Planning Commission. If you would stand with us, please, Commissioner Craig Lynch will lead us in our prayer and our pledge. Craig.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and all the blessings you've given us. We thank you, Heavenly Father, we have the opportunity to come here today to serve our county. Heavenly Father, we're coming upon the eve of the 9/11 tragedy. Let us never forget those people and let them be the praise that you give those families, Heavenly Father, that the remembrance is coming up to them. And we thank you for our protectors at home and abroad that has protected us from 9/11 events through these many years that we don't even know about. We thank you for the protection of that. We pray that you just be with us tonight in this meeting. In Christ's name. Amen. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Call the roll, please, Gail.
Rhonda Allen. M. Averwater. Lee Bogle. David Jones. Mike Cush. Craig Lynch. Chip Pinion. Charlotte P. Pettis Reed. Mike Lott. Jeff Phillips.
Present.
Have a quorum.
Thank you. We have no minutes to approve and no items withdrawn or deferred, but one item we would like to add that came in late, and this is for a final plat, and I'd like to add it into the agenda at this time. If I could have a motion to suspend the rules to hear an additional. We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules to hear an additional, in addition to our agenda for a final plat. All those in favor of that motion, please say aye. Doug, is it projected somewhere?
It will be, yes. Is it on the screen? Okay, yes. Yes, thank you. This is for the Heatherwood subdivision. You should have a copy of this plat on your iPads as well as on the table, on the screen behind you. This plat was actually originally approved by the Planning Commission back in June of last year. Final plat approvals, as you know, through the Planning Commission are valid for 6 months unless they're recorded. Once they're recorded, they're fine, but this has gone over its 6-month approval window, if you will, so this is requiring a reapproval. The plat is pretty much unchanged. I will bring up just one small change that's been made to this plat, which is really doesn't really affect the approval of it any. The City of Murfreesboro did extend a sanitary sewer line through this property, and there is a sanitary sewer easement that's included on this plat that was not on the original, but that doesn't affect the subdivision or anything. It's just something I wanted to make note of. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any question. The plat's in good order.
We have a motion and a second to approve item 17-2046, Heatherwood Section 4, and this is for a reapproval. Any other discussion? All in favor of that motion to approve, please say aye. Aye. Is there any opposition? The motion to approve carries. Thank you. Under new business, items that are scheduled for public hearings under zoning request. Item 18-A017, Eddie Queen for Hamilton and Moore, LP. Location is 5907 Burnt Knob Road. Commission district is 20. The county commissioner is Trey Gooch. The size of the site is approximately 52 acres. Tax map is 77. Existing zoning is RM, residential medium density. Proposed zoning is light industrial, LI. Doug.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you, and good evening, Commissioners. The applicant is requesting to rezone this property to light industrial, as Jeff had said, in order to operate a land clearing and utility line maintenance company. Materials submitted by the applicant indicate that they also remove chip material from the land clearing operations, and they regrind those for mulch, soil products, loam, etc. It's a family-owned business and has currently 10 employees. Additional conversations with the applicant indicate that their typical hours of operation are Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. with occasional weekend hours. Equipment on the site consists of chippers, grinders, dump trucks, and pickup trucks, and the like. The applicant has submitted a concept plan, which you will find in your agenda packets, as well as the submittal materials that have been included with your packets as well. Access would continue to be from Burnt Knob Road. You'll see on the concept plan that they do show a looped driveway for easier access for some of the larger vehicles they have. As you know, this is right across the street from the Rogers Group quarry, so there is a significant amount of truck traffic along this stretch of road. We would review any site plan, of course, should this be approved, to ensure that any new development on this property would not have an adverse effect on the existing traffic to along Burnt Knob Road. Properties that are zoned light industrial do require a Type 3 buffer adjacent to properties that are zoned residential. Most of this site, as you can see from the aerial photographs, are heavily treed. Existing plantings can be used as part of these buffering requirements, and any new parking and maneuvering areas would also have to be landscaped consistent with our regulations. Of course, there's also performance standards that would have to be met as far as noise, dust, glare, and hazardous materials and those kind of things are concerned. There's not a water line in front of this property. The applicant has indicated that they would use well water in order to operate the business on the property. Having some conversations with Alan Stemke from Consolidated Utility indicated that they would have to, if they were going to extend the line, they would probably have to extend it from the west, if I remember the email correctly, and that chances are they would have to extend it the full length of the property, not just to the wherever they needed to make the tap. So, but the applicant has indicated they would like to use well water on this property. So considering the lack of water and the septic soils, of course, most of this area is classified as Gladeville rock, so there's not just a large amount of usable soil on this property. We checked with our TDEC office. There was no septic site that was found. Now, there may be some small pockets there. That's something they would have to research. But considering the location of this, that there is an existing rock quarry across the street, and there's also property that is zoned light industrial, again, directly across the street from this property, staff doesn't feel that this particular property is going to develop in a single-family manner, so we'd recommend approval of the request. The applicant is present, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions for staff at this time?
Surface, it looks like a good spot for this, Doug, but do you know if they've identified any soils yet?
I'm not aware if they've identified anything yet. I mean, the applicant is present. He can speak to that.
Ready for our public hearing? This time I'll declare the public hearing open for item 18-A017, Eddie Queen. Is the applicant present? Would you please come up? If you would state your name and address for the record, and also just give us a brief description of what you have in mind.
Eddie Queen, 799 Elysian Fields Road, Nashville, Tennessee. 27204. I'll address this away.
Yes.
I'm Eddie Queen, hopefully a new resident of Murfreesboro. My son Daniel is here with me, and my father-in-law Tom Reed. Kind of give you a background, you may wonder, and I'll start with, because everybody asks me, Hamilton and Moore is the limited partnership. Where'd that name come from? My office is at 625 Hamilton, and it backs up to Moore Avenue. So years ago, I decided if I was going to be in business, this property should probably be in my kid's name. So I started a limited partnership. Wife and I gave a percentage to him every year, and I'm the general partner and own 5%. And that was done so that when I die, there won't be a lot of inheritance tax. My game plan, though, was that I would stay there forever. We're in the Wedgwood, Hamilton area, and they're tearing homes down, and they're building a lot of new homes. And we have had an offer just recently to purchase that property. This was after I had bought this property in Murfreesboro on Burnt Knob Road. So actually my plans kind of changed. And what I've intended to do is actually move my family and my business to Murfreesboro, and actually sell my home, sell the office property, and head east. What we do predominantly is land clearing. We do right-of-way maintenance. We also make and sell mulch. We've just recently applied to make a product called PlaySoft for playgrounds, and we have submitted that material for approval. We haven't received it yet, but all of that we intend to make on this property. And water will be an issue, but we have made, if you want to call it a mini pond, and we think we have enough water there to use to color mulch and to make our place off with. And then all we really need is water for our, office. And I talked to Rogers across the street and how they solved this problem, and they said they did it with wells. So I assume if, wells work. So, and I'll be glad to ask any questions if anybody has one.
Any questions at all?
Truck traffic are you expecting?
Most of our chips will come in on tractor-trailer trucks. We have a 48-foot and we have a 45-foot. Actually, we have two 45-foots. But most of the chips we bring off-site, we bring in the tractor-trailer trucks. It's the most efficient way. We only have 3 of those vehicles. And if you're aware at all of your airport, 2 years ago, there was a clearing that was done across from your airport. We're the ones that did that clearing. I don't know if you saw the big blue thing. That's predominantly what we do. That was a rather unique situation because they wanted all the material left. Most people don't, especially if you're doing a subdivision plat like you had. They want that material carried off. And versus putting it in the landfill, it's very good to, if we bring it and color it and age it, then we can, and turn around and sell it. It's just another profit center.
Most, if not all of your grinding then is done off-site, correct? And
Most
you're
all of
calling
it, yeah.
Mostly chips and not.
Yeah, we very seldom bring anything in bulk. That doesn't mean that doesn't happen. We do have single axle trucks with knuckle booms on it. If we were clearing a small lot and it's economically not feasible to take a big grinder, we'll just load that up. The neighbors on each side of a small lot area don't particularly like the big grinders and the noise. So we would haul that off. Other than that, though, most all the grinding is done off-site.
Have any plans for a sales yard here where people come in and buy?
I actually would like to do that. Where you could, where a private homeowner could come in and get it, I would actually like to do that.
Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone here wishing to speak for or against this rezoning request, please come forward.
Doug, looks like plenty of natural red cedar buffer there, correct?
Yeah, there's a lot of existing tree material on that property that they could count toward buffer. They may, depending on how they ended up with the final design, we would have to look at it to make sure they didn't have to, supplement it. But there's a lot, what's there they can use, yes.
Hello. Name and address, please.
I'm Dr. E.C. Talbert. Live at 7279 Vaughn Road, which runs parallel to Burnt Knob Road. I would like to just know sort of where this property is in conjunction with the new park of the city, where are we locating this property? How far is it from the new park?
The new park is right over here at Veterans, 840 and Burnt Knob. This area in the yellow right here would be the new park.
And the current property we're discussing is
Is
where?
right here, this in the yellow.
So it's some, 2 miles?
Not that far. No, we're talking, let's see. My computer will catch up.
Mile.
Still spinning and thinking. Less than a mile, 4,500 feet. Yeah, 3/4 of a mile.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Seeing no one, I'll declare the public hearing closed. Other questions, comments from the commission?
A condition, but is there future plans to widen it for trucks?
Yes, there are future plans to widen Burnt Knob Road eventually to a 5-lane road. It's shown on the county's thoroughfare plan. I believe it's also shown on the city's. I know that the city was looking to start the process, at least with the portion of Burnt Knob in front of the park that they're proposing over there off the other side of Veterans. Now, as you start getting further down the road, there's no immediate plans to do anything with the road at this point. But I think that goes back to what we were saying before. If this were approved, this would require site plan approval, and we could at least require right-of-way dedication, maybe some improvements along Burnt Knob as it fronts the subject property. We would just have to look at that when we see a site plan on it.
We have a motion and a second to approve item 18-A017 for Eddie Queen. Any other discussion? Any other questions? All those in favor of that motion to approve, please say aye. Is there any opposition? The motion to approve carries. Thank you. Thank you. We have 2 abstained. You get them? Okay. We acknowledge where you were and taking care of other county business, so we're glad you're here. Anything else?
I don't have anything further. Mike, did you have anything?
Mike? Our next meeting is scheduled for Monday, September 24th, 9 a.m. in the planning mess. And this rezoning request will be heard, if I'm not mistaken, in October. Let me see if I can get the date. October the 11th, 6:30 p.m. in this courthouse. Commissioners, anything else? Thank you for your attendance, your participation. We are adjourned.